Hi there, sixth graders. Welcome to math class from quarantine. I know it's kind of frustrating to do math this way, but this is where we are, so we're going to make the best of it, okay? As I think about things, two things come to mind, okay? Number one is that God is in control of the whole situation, okay? And it's very obvious because we are not in control of it. And then number two, we're on the same boat, okay? Everybody's having to do things differently than we normally do. You guys are, and Mrs. Duran is, okay? But we'll get through it, okay? I just want to make sure you guys are watching your videos, doing your assignments that Mrs. Duran assigned you, checking your work. If there's something you don't understand, send me an email. Send me an email with a phone number so that I can call you. I've already called several students to talk through some of the problems, okay? So, you just got to communicate with me, okay? I'm communicating with you guys through these videos. I hope they are helpful. I miss you guys terribly. Let's go on to lesson 94. Okay. We're talking today about writing fractions and decimals as percents, part 2, because we've already been doing this sum. We're going to go one more step. Okay, the first thing we need to remember is that the number 1 is the same thing as 100%. If Mrs. Duran has one whole pie, I get 100% of the pie. 1 and 100% are the same thing. Okay, so that is going to help us when we go to change fractions and decimals into percents. Okay, also remember that I can multiply anything I want to by 1 and not change the value. Okay. So if 100% is the same thing as 1, I can change a number to a percent by multiplying that number by 100%. Okay? 100% is the same thing as 1. I can multiply anything I want to by 1 and not change the value. Okay? So, think about something like this. 3/4. If we want to turn 3/4 into a fraction, we've been doing this, right? 3 divided by 4 gives me 75%. Well, let's take one that we already know what 3/4 is as a percent and use our new procedure for today, okay? So it says we're going to multiply the number by 100%. Well, this is a fraction, so when I multiply it by 100%, I'm going to put it over 1 to make it a fraction. Remember, 100% is the same thing as 1, okay? So 3/4 times 100% over 1 gives me 300% over 4. So now I have 300% divided by 4. Guess what? 300% divided by 4 is 75%. We already knew that though, right? Okay. So let's think about changing 2/3 into a percent. Now, today's lesson, you're going to learn why we're learning this new procedure, because 2/3 is not a pretty fraction when we divide it. Okay? So we first need to multiply by 100%, and this is going to help us out. This is a fraction, so I'm going to put 100% over 1. 2 times 100% equals 200%. 3 times 1 equals 3. So now my division problem is 200% divided by 3. 200% divided by 3. 3 goes into 20. Let's see, how many times? 6 times. That's 18. Bring down the 0. 3 goes into 20. 6 times. Now, I don't say 66 remainder 2%, right? I put my remainder over my divisor. 66 and 2/3%. So 2/3 is 66 and 2/3%. Now let's move to a decimal. My first slide says I can change a decimal to a percent by multiplying it by 100%. So 1.8 times 100%. What happens to my decimal? When I multiply by 100, it moves to the right twice. Bump. If I add a 0, bump. So 1.8 is the same as 180%. Now think about it, guys. 1 is 100%. So if I have a decimal number bigger than 1, my percent is going to be bigger than 100%. Okay? 2 1/5. Before I multiply by 100%, I do not want a mixed number. I want to make it what? Right, improper. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. 11 over 5. Multiply by 100%. This is a fraction, so let's make this a fraction by putting it over 1. Now, before I multiply, we already learned how to reduce before I multiply, because 11 times 100 is a great big number. So let's reduce 5 and 100. I can reduce it by 5s. 5 goes into 5 one time. 5 goes into 100 20 times. So now I have 11 times 20. 11 times 20, 220%. Okay? You guys okay? 1 and 1/3. We want to write 1 and 1/3 as a percent. Mixed number. Make it improper. 4 over 3. Multiply by 100%. I'm going to put it over 1 because this is a fraction. 4 times 100 is 400%. 3 times 1 is 3. 400%. Divide by 3. 3 goes into 4 one time. 4 minus 3 is 1. Bring down the 0. 3 goes into 10 3 times. That's 9. Bring down the 0. 3 goes into 10 3 times. That's 9. So I have a 1 left over out of 3. 133 and 1/3%. Think about it, guys. Our number was bigger than 1, so our percent is going to be bigger than 100%. Okay? Okay. Now, this is example 5 in your book. Okay? It says 20 of the 30 students were girls. So what percent of the students were girls? So basically, they want us to take 20 out of 30 and turn it into a percent. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is reduce. 20 over 30 is the same as 2 over 3, right? So I'm going to multiply by 100%. I'm going to put it over 1. Since this is a fraction, I want fraction times fraction. So I get 200% over 3. 200% over 3 means 200% divided by 3. 3 goes into 20. How many times? 6. That's 2. Bring down the 0. 3 goes into 20. That's 6. I'm going to have a remainder of 2. 66 and 2/3% of the students were girls. Okay? Okay? So we're doing fractions 2% and decimals 2%. Our first step is to multiply by 100%. Mrs. Duran's phone is going off. I'm probably going to get a demerit. Okay. You guys stop the film, answer your practice set, and then start the video back up, and we will answer them. Okay. The first section, guys, was just decimals. Multiply them to get to our percents. Multiply them by 100%. So on A, 0.5 times 100 gives me 50%. B, 0.06, 6/100ths is 6%. Remember, we also said if I can write it as a fraction, and say it as a fraction, I can write it as a percent over 100, right? C, 125 thousandths is 12.5%. 45 hundredths, 45%. 1.3, 1 and 3/10. My decimal was here. Bump, bump, 130%. 0.025, bump, bump, 2.5%. G, the answer is 9%. H, 125%. I, 62.5%. Okay, so the decimal ones are pretty easy. Just multiply by 100% makes my decimal move twice to the right. Fraction ones were not so easy. J, 2/3 is the same as 66 and 2/3%. K, 1/6 becomes 16 and 2/3%. Remember, take your fraction, multiply it by 100% over 1, and then whatever you get there, you got to do the division. L, 12.5%. M, 125%. N, 280%. O, 130%. 33 1/3%. Okay, P says what percent of the rectangle is shaded? Well, the 5/6 of the rectangle was the fraction part that was shaded, so I took 5/6 times 100% over 1. I divided 500% by 6, and I got 83 1/3%. Q, what percent of a yard is a foot? Well, a yard is 1/3 of a foot, so I took 1/3, multiplied times 100% over 1, so I get 300%, divide by 3, I get 100% divided by 3, 33 1/3%. Okay? Okay, guys. Hope you did well today. Make sure all of this is in your notebook so you can go back to it later. Okay? Then you can head on to your work for today. Miss you guys. See you next time. Bye.